Hey everyone, Allison here from Not Just Yarn, and welcome to another series where I make every square in one of these boxes. So last year, gosh, it feels weird to say that, I did the 50 granny floral squares. So that was the floral square box, which if I had been thinking ahead of time, I would have had to show you, but you can look back through. There's a few here on YouTube, and then all of them are on my Instagram. So I crocheted a granny square a day with the Floral Granny Square card deck. So this is a new one that came in before Christmas. This is the Granny Square Stitches card deck. So each card is a different stitch or stitch pattern to learn. So this is a great card deck if you are fairly new to crochet, or you just want to expand your sort of stitch dictionary, so to speak. This is a great card deck to teach you all sorts of stitches, from the very basic to the more complex. So let's take a look at what's inside. You have your little book, which we'll go through in a minute, and then you have 50 of these. So these have a picture of the finished stitch pattern on the front. And then on the back, you've got a chart for how to make it, as well as some instructions to work the stitch pattern in any size, to work the square shown on the card, like all these different things. These cards work in conjunction with this little booklet. So this booklet walks you through how to read the cards. They talk about what kind of yarn they use to get the size of square that they made. So they have used a 4mm, sorry, they're making a 4-inch 10cm square, and they have used a 4mm hook and a light worsted, so a DK basically yarn. I am going to be using good old Anthem. So this is a worsted weight yarn. I'm going to be using a 5mm hook. So my squares will likely be a little bit bigger, although I do tend to crochet quite tightly, so they could turn out to be 4 inches square, just like these guys. But that's just something to keep in mind. And then they go through and they define each symbol that you'll find on the card decks. They describe how to make each stitch. And then there's lots of pages on how to read the charts. So it's really good. It's how to follow the chart row by row, how to read a stitch repeat, what a stitch multiple is, and how to figure it out. So if you want to take your take the stitch pattern and turn it into a blanket, say, it'll tell you what the stitch multiple is. So that will tell you how many like chains you have to start with, that sort of thing. And then there's a few, well, there's 2 cards that they have completely written out the instructions for. And then they get into how to edge your squares and how to join them and how to choose colors and all that kind of stuff. So there's an example of a finished one. Obviously they're not all squares, they've got some rectangles, so they've turned this into a fun like stitch sampler blanket. So that is the booklet. So what is my plan for this series? It's not going to be one a day, but once a week I'm going to work my way through this deck. Last time I did it sort of fairly random, and I even picked colors randomly. This time I'm going to be a little bit more logical, I suppose. And I'm just going to take the cards from 1 to 50. So we're going to start with the simplest stitches. This to me makes sense because you're starting with the very simplest stitch, which is a single crochet. And then let's see we'll peek ahead. Card 50. Oh, it's just in Tarja, Battenberg. Okay, so fun times ahead. So by the end of the year, we should have them all finished, hopefully. What colors am I going to use? So I have picked out 10 colors of our beloved Anthem yarn. So this is 100% acrylic yarn from Cascade Yarns, and I have At this point, I feel like I have most of the colors that they have, but I know there's still some that I don't have in stock. So if there is a color that you are interested in seeing more closely, then do let me know and I'll see if I can bring it in for you. Okay, what colors do I have? I've got lime. Now lime, this is the only color that I can't get any more of. I do have a fair bit of stock on this because they discontinued it, so I just brought in a few bags. But it's a beautiful, like, spring crisp green, I think. So that's lime. That's cactus. That's one of my favorite go-to greens. This one is pink pearl, I believe. Yes, that's pink pearl. That one's poppy red. This one is dark denim, agate green, lavender, peach pink, coral, and lemon ice. This to me is a very sort of spring palette, which I'm quite excited about. So that is my plan. I'm going to pick colors. I'm not choosing a random color generator like I did last time. I'm actually going to sort of pick them as I go. And then at the end of the year, when all 50 are made, I will start assembling. And I haven't picked a border color yet. I'm gonna wait and see how this blanket comes together, or how these squares come together, I should say, into a blanket, and then decide. So that'll be a future me's problem. Alrighty, so that is my plan. A granny stitch square a week for 2026. I hope you join me for the fun. See you soon.